Go again. Take two. My lovely atomic kitten lady, Natasha Hamilton, we're in full flow having an amazing conversation, and apparently nobody can hear us. So we decided to jump off and we're going to start again. So let me send Natasha an invitation to join, and I hope. I'm going to give you a wave. I'm going to send you. Right. Can everybody hear us again now? I've never had this happen.
Yeah, and we were getting all cocky going. That was easy.
I know. Well, normally it is.
Gosh.
Emma, can everybody just let us know whether they can hear us or not? Because we've just started again. I can hear Natasha. I can see her. Can everybody hear what we're saying? I'm hoping
Hello,
so.
hello. I've just come off the Wi-Fi as well. You never know, the Wi-Fi might be being a bit.
Oh, my daughter's Beth. Can you hear us? Because we've just had to come off. Emily, mother in a menopause. Can you hear us now, guys? Oh, it's working now. Fantastic.
Well,
Well, I'm sorry, but I've never had that. But hey, you're used to probably lots of tech issues in your time, aren't you? What do? We blag through it, we wing it, and we don't panic. Thanks, Emily. Yeah,
always.
she just said,
Just
yeah, it's
like just like
perfect.
a like a swan.
Anyway, where were we? So if we can just
It's
start again, because obviously I've discarded the other one. So how old are you now, Natasha? And tell us the ages of your children. Not that you look old enough to have a 23-year-old.
so I'm 42. Yeah,
Yeah.
42. I'm starting to like not really remember how old I am. I'll be 43 next month. My youngest is 21 months, which has been hard work, not
Is
gonna
that a little
lie.
girl you've got, the little one?
Yeah, Kitty. She is incredible,
Oh,
but wow, it's been a journey, I can tell you that. Then Ella's 10, Alfie's 15 at the weekend. Then my two older boys are almost 21 and almost 23. That was just like a whole lifetime ago. And they're like living their lives and doing their thing. It's crazy.
fantastic. So what are you doing with yourself these days? I've been listening to your latest record.
Thank you. Yeah, I started
Brilliant.
getting back into music, as in songwriting and recording last year.
Hmm.
It just felt like it was something I'd missed. I'd fallen out of love with music. I think after lockdown and during that whole time was when I was like, you know what? If I don't scratch this itch at some point, I'll regret it. And the music industry and music in general is not very forgiving, and it can be a bit ageist. And I just thought, before I get too old and can't be asked as well, and before everyone just goes, no, I'm gonna do
You've
some
still
music.
got it. Your record is brilliant. How long is it since you've not been with the girls from Atomic Kitten? How many years is that? Do I dare ask?
Well, actually, me and Liz were touring. We've toured, I'd say, the past 16, 17 years. It was just last year I
Mm.
stepped away from it. Um, just different, wanting different things. I feel like when you're doing the same thing over and over again,
You've
it's
got a
like
family, haven't you? And life just takes you in different directions, doesn't it?
I wanted to do new things. I wanted
Mm.
to just step away from the Groundhog Day kind of aspect of that. Lots of different personal things going on. So it was just like, it just felt like the right time before all of a sudden the pair of us were doing something we really didn't want to do. It was
Mm.
like, let's have the chat. Are you feeling how I feel? I was like, I think it's a nice time to draw the line under that. And you know what? Never say never. It's not that Atomic Kitten won't ever be again. Who
Mm.
knows? I'm always super hopeful. I absolutely love performing. That's my life. That's what makes me happy, and I've got that fire in my belly for it all the time. So never say never that me, Liz and Jen, even though if they saw
Absolutely.
this, they might go, no.
But you've still got it. You look amazing. You still sound, your voice hasn't changed at all, though, I don't think. Your voice still sounds as good as it did all those years ago.
Thank you. I mean, it is harder now because obviously life's busy. I'm older. I
Yeah.
get more tired easily because of perimenopause and thyroid issues.
We
And
get to that in a minute.
yeah, I have to like approach things in a very different way from what I did before, for
Yeah.
sure.
So talk to me about that. Where are you then, Natasha, in your perimenopause, and how do you know you're in it? And has it been obvious to you? I mean, back when I went through my journey, I'm 58 in September. I'd have been 40. I had no idea what perimenopause was. I've never had a hot flush or night sweats. I was left with menopausal, undiagnosed menopause joint pain, which left me unable to stand, sit, or walk for nearly 10 years. I slipped completely through the net, which is why I do what I do today. So, talk to me about your journey then.
I think I'm quite in tune with my body and mind.
Hmm.
I've had like mental health issues in the past. I've suffered with anxiety and depression,
Yeah,
and I'm very aware of what this is doing. And
that's really
last year,
healthy. That's really
yeah,
good. I'm impressed.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's taken a long journey to be able to spot the signs without being in the spiral. It's like spotting it
Yeah.
before you get into the spiral. But last year, was it last year? I think it was
We're
yes,
2025. I know we have to
yes,
think, don't we?
yes.
2025 now.
Last year, actually, it was the thyroid issue that reared its ugly head first.
Yeah.
So I was really struggling to lose my baby weight, should we say, even though I'd breastfed and I was training and I wasn't eating silly things. And then all of a sudden, when I was coming back into music and I was in dance rehearsals, I'd go to bed and the next day it was like I'd been hit by a truck. The pain in my body was unbearable. It was just the most bizarre experience. Like even my fingers, like my fingertips would throb. I couldn't move my neck. It was like I had
So, you had joint
whiplash.
issues as well then?
Oh my God, the pain was unbearable to a
Yeah.
point where I was crying in bed, rolling, like having to do strategic commando rolls out of bed because I just couldn't sit
Yeah.
up. And I thought, yeah, something's definitely wrong here. So I went and had all my bloods done. I just
Were you
went down,
tired? Were you really tired as well?
absolutely exhausted.
Because thyroid
Um,
issues always normally, you're really tired and sluggish and lethargic.
and the brain fog. So
Yeah.
I'm coming back into music and I'm preparing for interviews and I'm doing like little interviews here and there. And I could remember having conversations and finding it really hard to stay present with what was being said and my train of thought. And then it was the panic
Yeah.
of, oh my God, like feeling really overwhelmed very easily.
You
Um,
write things down.
so this book, like my head would
Goes
fall off.
everywhere.
Everywhere. I've got two. I've got two in my bag. Everything gets written down so I can like go back to it. But yeah, it was just a really tough time. Bearing in mind, I'm also raised like I've got a baby.
I
I've got a new
know.
career. I'm shooting videos. I'm also building a record label, which started last year. So there was a lot going on in my life, and I
Mm.
just felt completely overwhelmed. I just felt didn't feel myself, lost, no focus. It was just like there was so much noise. Everything was just chaotic. The
Yeah.
thought of actually forward planning, I mean, what was that? I couldn't plan to the end of the day, let alone the end of the week. So trying to run a house and a family and a business and not being able to focus in the ways I need to was really overwhelming. So I went straight to the doctors and I had all my bloods done.
Were they
Um,
empathetic?
yeah.
That's
So,
good.
yeah, Dr. Andre, who is in from Oxford Natural, in Alderley Edge, shout out to him. He was great, actually. It wasn't like, oh, you're too young, because, I am still young. Straight away, he was like, okay, this doesn't sound right. Let's get some bloods. So I
I'm just
paid
going to
for
open
that.
my window, Natasha. Keep
Yeah,
talking.
of
I'm getting hot.
course. Not no stress. Bless you. So
Got warm in here.
yeah, I just went for the bloods. I was like, at this point, I would pay anything
Mm.
to get to the bottom of what is actually happening. And they came back within, I think, like a week, maybe less. Are you okay?
That's good.
um,
Dry cough. It's driving me nuts.
oh God, yeah, it's everywhere. And yeah, that was actually thyroid first and foremost, but my female hormones were hanging on by the tiniest of a thread. So the plan was, let's get the thyroid sorted, and then we will go to move on to the perimenopause afterwards. But I'd say within about 4 months, it was just it was very um obvious that I was just not coping. And yeah, it was just difficult. It just felt like one hit after the next.
But it sounds like you had a very good doctor and very empathetic and methodically working through things, which is what you need.
Do you know what? I saw my mum suffer for years.
Did you?
I've
What was
I've
her?
heard
What were her issues with menopause?
the mood swings, feeling low,
Yeah.
terrible hot flashes. Now, my mum's of the generation where all that research that come back and the correlation of breast cancer. She also had sisters who'd had breast cancer, so she point blank went, I'm not going to do anything. And she cold turkeyed the menopause for 10, 15 years, like no joke. She, and I was young, so I wasn't of an age to think, how can I help you in other ways? How can we help support this? I was only young and living away and doing my Atomic Kitten thing. But I do remember seeing my mum suffer a lot. So when that started creeping up on me, I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to feel shit and like lose the plot. Like, even though I was unraveling and it was happening at a very quick pace, I just knew I had to get it nipped in the bud straight away. And I know a lot of people might holistically approach menopause, but for me, I was like, give me the hormones.
It's not
And
worth losing years of your life to try and do it au naturel. If you've got that many debilitating symptoms,
mm,
it's just not worth it.
yeah.
And you don't
And
have to be on HRT forever. If you decide to come off it, it's like any drug. The pros have to outweigh the cons. But if you're going to lose years of your life, there's just no point. Thumb five is just saying hits you like a ton of bricks, and it does. And for 25% of us, we're utterly flawed. 25% will walk it relatively easily, and the other 50% kind of float somewhere in between. But I'm like you, if I would have known then what perimenopause was 17, 18 years ago, I without a doubt needed HRT, without a doubt.
yeah.
Not being able to
And
stand, sit, or walk, that is no quality. Like, I couldn't go out in the car because if I could get down, I couldn't get out the other side. I'd go into a restaurant or a bar and I'd look at the chairs. I'd be having a panic attack thinking, I can't get down because I'm nearly 5'10". That I can't get down there. You won't get me back up.
that's really sad that you had to experience that for so long.
Which
Um,
is why I do what I do today. So, was your doctor open? Because obviously you're still quite young to HRT.
to be honest, he, suggested HRT, but for
Brilliant.
me, it was like, I'm going to go and research the shit out of this. And for me, I think the best resource was Davina McCall's Menopausing.
Yeah.
Um, I just got the podcast and had it on in the car. I spend a lot of time
Were
driving my
you
kids.
ticking all the boxes? Go, yeah, that's me. Yeah, yeah, I'm that.
It was me, and just hearing about the research and the options, I just thought that that's what I want to do. I haven't got the luxury of time,
Yeah.
and I've also got a family and especially like a baby to look after. I need help and I
Yeah.
need it.
You need your sanity. So, what were your worst symptoms then, Natasha?
Um,
Were you at hot flushes, night
yeah.
sweats?
So night sweats, disgusting, like lying on a towel.
See, I've never had any. I'm always cold.
Yeah, so that was horrible because like there's nothing sexy about being a clammy wet mess next to your husband in bed.
Yeah.
And I've got a younger husband as well, and I just felt like I was aging rapidly. It was horrible. Um, the the low mood, the just feeling like hopeless.
Yeah. Did you get up
Um,
feeling low every morning? I remember going through years and not telling everybody. I would get up in the morning and think, today will be better, today will be better. And you just, and I'm a really positive, outgoing, confident person. I didn't leave the house for 2.5 years and I never told
wow.
anybody. And that's such a waste. I've just got to give a big shout out to Emily. She runs a brilliant account on here. You should follow her, Mothering and the Menopause. And she's just put, yeah, that's the thing. You don't have time as a new mum with a baby. She runs a brilliant group for anybody that's following or watching this on catch up. If you've got young children, Emily runs an amazing, amazing account on here. So give her a follow.
Wow. I've got to say, none of the comments are coming up on my feed, so I can't see what anyone's saying. So I'm not being rude if
No,
anyone's asking me a direct
I think
question.
it's probably because I'm hosting, but I can link you up with Emily as well. Anyway, she runs an amazing group, and how you ladies cope with. I mean, I've got twins. Emily's got twins. How you cope with young children and battling some of these horrendous symptoms. But we were talking. What are the symptoms? If you could have got rid of 4 or 5, what were your worst ones?
Um, do you know what? I didn't like the loss of control, like the flip of
Yeah.
you can get agitated or
Oh, you can have a complete hissy fit, and you keep going, and in your head, I can remember shouting at the girls, thinking, "Claire, you've made your point," and going on and almost ranting and
yeah, just
building
the
yourself up.
0 to 100, like for me, that I didn't like that because feeling out of control for someone who's a
Mm,
bit of a control freak is the worst experience ever. So that
yeah,
for me was terrifying. Um, just the lack of focus, the not being able to see beyond the end of my nose, like walking around in circles, leaving the house going, oh, what, and then coming back, forgetting stuff all the time.
yeah. Brain
Like
fog's very debilitating.
even forgetting to pick my kids up, like
Yeah,
even now, the kids still go, Mum, you do know, because obviously with different kids, different ages, they've got different clubs and stuff. There was a
yeah.
couple of times I just didn't pick Alfie up because I forgot where I was in the routine.
Mm.
And he's like, hey, Mum, like I'm at school. And I'm like, yeah, I'm at home. And his school's like 45-minute drive away. So it's not like I forgot my child, but I forgot my child. Like my
Yeah.
brain wasn't
It's
functioning.
like Deb is on
So
here saying it's the feeling of not recognizing yourself anymore. I think that sums it up really well. You lose your identity. Women say to me, it isn't necessarily that bit of weight gain and things like that. It's just you look in the mirror and you just don't know who's looking back at you. You've just lost that person.
yeah.
Did
And
you
it's
get a lot of
also,
support from your family, Natasha, your husband?
yeah, because he thought his life was in danger.
It was.
Yeah, honestly, I could remember like we've got like creaky floorboards in our bedroom, and I just remember one
Was
morning
he
like
locking up
he's
the knives?
oh God, he's just like walking from the bathroom like to get ready, and in my head it was like the loudest he was probably creeping, but it was like the loudest thud, and I just remember being like, could you be any louder? And just
It's
feeling
like I
so
always remember my one of my daughters when she came back in lockdown, and it never bothered me before. And I just looked over at her, and she had a bag of crisps, and I just said, "Do you want to get a bowl for those?" She went, "Do I need to?" I went, "Yeah." And it was to me, it sounded like somebody scraping their nails down the side of a boat. And lots of women say, "Oh, my husband breathing does it."
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
just as bad.
The snoring, the pneumatic drill that you've
Yep.
kind of been used to for years, all of a sudden is driving you insane. But also just the lack of being able to do like something simple. Now, this might sound mental, but we travel a lot as a family. And it has been my job for many years to pack a million things for everyone and make sure it's all there. And I can remember last summer looking at an empty suitcase, and my brain could not put together the steps of what I needed to do to pack the baby stuff. And I literally just had this meltdown. And my
Yeah.
husband's like, what is going on? And I was just like, I can't do it. And I mean, it wasn't even me being a drama queen. It was like, I can't
You just can't
see
put
the
one foot in front
steps.
of the
I
other,
can't
can
see the
you? Yeah.
steps. And it was frightening and overwhelming. And he was just like, okay, it's fine. I'll do it. Just go and sit down, like chill out. But yeah, it was just feeling like I'd lost the ability
And
to.
that's soul destroying because you're a clever woman juggling all these different children, jobs, full time. You know, you've got an amazing job, traveling, you're on the road, you're here. You're somebody who's done it all at 900 miles an hour. All of a sudden, you can't just get out of bed and get yourself ready, let alone look after your baby and look after the other young children you've got in your family. It really does rip it away from you. And you just feel, women say to me, I feel really worthless, I feel really lonely. But I promise you, there's billions of women around the world as we speak feeling exactly the same.
I've had to stop comparing me now to me then. That's
Yeah,
something I was doing all the time. But I used to be able to do this, and I used to be this person, and it's like that. Just you have to stop that because
yeah.
it number one, it's got a competition. Number two, things change, and you have to adapt. And I'm embracing a slower pace of life, but you know, there has been part of me that think, well, you know, my husband, like, does he still find me attractive? Because I'm not that vivacious, like, young girl that I was when I met him, and I'm like 4 years older than him. That's not a big age gap, but sometimes I feel a lot older than 4 years older than him in my physicality and in my brain, and then I start worrying, oh, you know, what does this mean for me getting older? Am I gonna like lose the plot? You know, and it's a constant worry, but I'm having to learn to live in the now and enjoy what's happening now because who knows
Absolutely.
what the future holds.
So go back to that doctor's appointment then, Natasha. So what HRT did he give you and how did you get on with it? Did it work? Did it not? Talk to me about your medication if that's all right.
Yeah, so estrogen,
Yeah, very
progest
classical,
yeah, 2 pumps every morning.
very normal, brilliant.
The progesterone tablet
You
at
suggest,
night
Dan?
and testosterone actually.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
because he's gone private. So he said he, with from what we were looking at the bloods, and he was just like, he's a firm believer that this is going to help, especially with the energy and the motivation. Um, I didn't get on well with the progesterone at all.
That's really interesting. Was it not good for your mood?
From the minute I put it in my mouth, I just felt drugged. I felt like I was on drugs. I felt
That's really interesting.
drowsy. I felt low, tired.
It wasn't
Like,
good for my mood. And lots, it is kind of the trendy, it's one of the really popular forms of HRT. I was fine with the gel like you, but
mm,
Utrogestan for me, I sat at home one day and I just looked at the wall. It was actually one of the other young girls on here who went through menopause at 22 that did a post and said, "Oh, I'm on the naughty girl pill now for progesterone." She was taking a synthetic. And I remember watching this thinking, that's me. Literally, I mean, we shouldn't have to turn to social media, but that was a big learning curve for me. So I contacted my doctor and I said, I can't stay on this.
yeah.
This is not good for me. And since I've mentioned it, lots of other women have said, my mood isn't good on it either. But you can use it, obviously, if anybody's watching this, check with your GP, doctor, or medical provider first. But you can use Utrogestan vaginally.
I've heard of that, but I've also got the
Didn't make
coil.
any difference.
So, I mean, I know the coil is very much
Oh, is that the
low,
Mirena coil?
the Marina, yeah.
So
So,
you've got your progesterone protection for your endometrial lining anyway.
but there is a debate that that's localized. But for
As long
me,
as you've got that protection for your endometrial lining so you
mm,
don't end up with any of the gynae cancers, that's absolutely fine. And you're only using 2 pumps, Natasha, of gel. So you really shouldn't necessarily need to use another form of progesterone unless they're trying to balance,
yeah.
anything else that hormonally. But what about your testosterone? Do you think that's worked?
I do actually, and I only know it has for when I ran out. And when I ran out, I just felt the slump. I wasn't
Interesting.
I wasn't as motivated, should we say. So yeah, that's like it's a bit weird with it, to be honest, because it comes in a sachet. It's not a pump, so it's
Oh,
not
I know.
measured.
Because our world is full of men's, but we've got to get it out into that sachet and divide it out. And we are campaigning hard for a ladies' pump, just, because a lady said to me only literally 2, 3 weeks ago, she used a sachet. I went, no, you only use a pea size amount.
In
You're
one
not a
go.
man. She went, oh, I'm using a sachet every day. I went, oh, no, you're not.
Oh,
Please
that's not
don't
going to
use a
make us feel
sachet.
good.
Go back and speak to your pharmacy very quickly if you can't get a call with your GP today. But you don't want to be using a whole sachet. Her name was Belinda. I said, oh, you'll be burnt by the end of the year. Just be really careful. You'll have a very deep voice. You'll start growing an Adam's apple and you'll become very
Well,
hairy.
I have to admit, I'm definitely a bit hairier on a HRT than I was
But it's
before.
normally the testosterone and where you're putting it. So if you're using, she was using a whole sachet and she said, oh, the inside of my thigh is really, 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 it's about an inch long, the hair. And I went, oh, no, no, no. You only need to use a pea size amount on the inside of your thigh, not a whole sachet. But this is the problem with HRT. We're finding that lots of GPs will give it out, absolutely brilliant, but they're not telling
So
anybody
this is
how to use
private.
it.
Yeah, it's a dollop. And to be fair, my tool of choice is a plastic spoon. It's like one of the baby spoons, and that's how I apply my gels now.
Do
I don't.
you?
Yeah, I
Never heard that.
don't use my hand. I've got a back of a plastic spoon, and I just rub it in so that I'm not losing it in any way.
Oh, yeah, another one is you can use the lid. Lots of people say you can shake the bottle, always shake the bottle, gives it a bit of a
Mm.
liven up, and just use the lid.
Yeah,
But yeah,
same
you do
spoon.
whatever works for you. Another bit of advice: just be careful. You can transfer it if you're holding babies. If you're
Yeah,
some women put it on their arms, but I think if you put it between your thighs, and
yeah,
obviously partners, wait for it to dry in before you have any hanky panky, and animals as well.
yeah. No,
Again, nobody tells you this. Nobody
I'm well
tells you when
away
you're
from.
given that prescription, you go away and you use it.
I think also it takes a little bit of time to get used to that new routine. Like when the minute I wake up in the morning, I get my water, I walk into the bathroom, I open my cabinet, I take my thyroid tablet. Then I get in the shower, then I get out and I do my two pumps on one leg and my testosterone on the other. I've got my fan. I bought myself a nice fan off Amazon to fan my leg to cook, like to get it to dry quicker. But that took a little while for me to not be pissed off with doing, if I'm being totally honest.
Have you?
Because in my
How's your
head,
sleep, Natasha?
now it's actually good at the moment.
Because
I've
have you not thought
before.
about doing this at night?
No, because
I'll tell you for why. I had a lady not so long ago tell me that it's when you're running around with kids in the morning. She said to me, I said, well, have you thought about doing it at night? And she said, like, And I said, well, if you think you go up and clean your teeth, I used to put the gel in between my thighs. While I clean my teeth, I'd rub my thighs together. By the time I jump back into bed 3 or 4 minutes later, it's dried. Take your progesterone or whatever you're taking, if you're taking a form of progesterone, and jump
Mm.
into bed and it's kind of done. Again, you've got to be careful if you're having anything physical with your partner. But
Mm.
if it's a pain in the backside in the morning and you're trying to get up and out the door, give that. And
I
it's
mean, I
in
do have
taking
time. I do
progesterone
have
is good
time
at
to
night
do
for
it.
sleep.
I think like I'm more inclined to do it that way when I go away on holiday because I feel like,
It's part of your routine because you might get to bed later in the evening and stuff like that. I
yeah,
guess.
and also like sweating in the sun and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I've kind of made it work. It's a routine that is now
yeah.
the
Now
everyday.
it's yeah.
But then when I travel a lot, and I have last summer I went away and the airline lost my suitcase and all my medication was in there and it was like hell.
Have you thought about splitting it? I often say to ladies, if you're going somewhere, even if it's not ideal, but even if you squirt a bit of your gel into another little pot or something, so you've got something with you in your
Yeah,
hand
I know.
luggage. Obviously, you can only
Yeah,
take so much depending on where you're flying.
Yeah, well, I do now. I put some stuff in my hand luggage, but that was a nightmare.
And also, if you remember, Natasha, take your prescription with you because some countries will confiscate it. They don't know what HRT is. So always
Interesting.
take your prescription with you. Then you've got some sort of medical note or a photocopy. Just one for that, because I
I
know,
don't even have one. I have to go and get one. But yeah, you are right.
I suppose you do it on, oh, I don't know, you do it, yeah, because you do
Mine's
it
just on
online,
like
don't
I
you?
just
But
get like a repeat prescription on the app, the NHS app.
can you, when you go and pick it up from your pharmacy or do you have it delivered, is there not a note in with that?
No, I don't think so.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of people are saying on here, thumb 5%. It's worth taking. It's just proof. It depends what
Yeah, of
countries
course.
you're zapping round when they don't know what HRT is, and you say to them, well, here it is. Even if it's an old prescription, it would just say kind of legally what it is. So,
Yeah.
do you think you've got your? Do you have an HRT review? Do you think your balance is right? Are you happy on your dose and everything going swimmingly and like smooth and swimmingly well for you at the moment?
Touch wood, it is going well. And with regards to sleep, I've added in CBD oil, which
Oh,
I
right.
started taking because my sleep was getting so badly disturbed. It was driving me mad because the baby doesn't sleep very well either. And the broken
Oh
sleep was just
no.
like breaking me down. But I've got some CBD oil. It's like a 4,000 milligram. It's quite a higher dose. So I take a pipette of that and I've got it in a pillow spray and it definitely just
Is
helps me
helping. Magnesium could be another one. If you are you into
on that.
supplements at all?
I take magnesium citrate for me gut, and I take the magnesium other one, Prismag for mood and relaxing.
Yeah. Do you take any vitamin D or anything? That's always quite a good one, I think.
Yeah, I take vitamin D. I take I have to have B12 because I've got pernicious anemia. I'm just rattling.
She's got it all. But
Yeah.
that's good. And what's your diet like? What's your diet and nutrition like? Are you good? Obviously, it's hard with a young family.
Do you know what? We're relatively good eaters. Like tonight, we had like a nice marinated chicken breast with a corn on the cob, broccoli, and potatoes. We're kind
Oh,
of
you
like
are
that.
good.
With the kids, it's like I'd say 90% of the time we're eating the same meal.
And that they're
Um,
quite plain, aren't they, kids, when they're younger normally?
yeah, they're older now. They're into sports. They're always hungry. So we've got sauces and whatnot that they can put on it to make it, zhuzh it up. But they're quite good. And the baby's incredible. She literally eats everything. She's the best out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah. That's
Bless
the
her.
one thing we've been able to just go, yes. The sleep still doesn't happen regularly, but the food is great.
I'm sure that'll come in time. I'm sure that'll come, and it is good if if you've got a fussy eater and a little one that isn't sleeping, and that's really exhausting. Let alone adding menopause into the mix as well. Bless you. So, what do you do for you, Natasha? What do you do to unwind and relax and have a bit of chill time? Do you get any time kind of for you, and what do you enjoy?
So fitness used to be a massive part of my life,
Yeah,
which I've really struggled to integrate back into my new version of life because I tend to crash a lot,
yeah.
even with light exercise. So at the moment, I'm just looking at different things to help support me. I've just started taking creatine in the morning as a
Yeah.
drink to help energize and also help with like muscle building. I'm knocking the cardio on the head. Cardio is very minimal. For me, like going in the gym and going in the sauna and going in the jacuzzi for 10 minutes for me, that is absolute heaven. I probably get to do that once a month, but
But the
it's
thing is,
something to
when
look
you've got a
forward
young
to.
family, I think if you just haven't got time to go to the gym and if you're going to just burn yourself out, there's no point. You're better off to go and do, I don't know, a Pilates or a yoga class or something that's going to keep those stress levels down.
Mm,
And not, and they say now women shouldn't be hitting loads and loads of cardio. And, I mean,
no.
I do probably about a maximum of about 15-20 minutes a day. We want to look after our heart health. But at the
Mhm.
same point, if you're feeling tired, that's just going to exhaust you even more. So you're better off just to go and do something, like you say, sit in a jacuzzi, go and find that little bit of time for you. What about your stress levels? You sound like you're like me. That's the
Uh,
10.
I can honestly say sometimes I feel like I'm living in the Truman Show, where the world is just like shit is just happening and trying to break me continuously.
Yeah,
And
I do. It is relatable. It is very
yeah,
relatable. And like I say, it's juggling kids of all different ages and touring and traveling and you are taking on absolutely everything, Natasha. I do admire you, my lovely. But it's just sometimes it's just going out. If you can just get away from everybody for 5 minutes and belt round the block and go for a quick walk and chuck your pods in. That's what I used to like doing. Just thinking, right, I need to just go out, get out in that green and blue space, get away from everybody literally for 5 minutes
yeah.
and just
I
go,
do
right,
like,
go away. Don't take your mobile though, because they'll be ringing you.
oh God, no way. But I do like having a nice like magnesium bath, and I like a hot bath, and I'll go and put
That's
like
good.
one of my shows on, like one of my programs for an hour. I take loads of water in with electrolytes, and I put all the candles on, and it is literally like, do not knock or touch the door.
That's good.
So
And how
that's
often do you
really
do
nice.
that? Do you try and do it once a week or anything?
Yeah, once a week,
Mm,
which is really that is that my me time. And I like I've got the most amazing girlfriends, but we're all hustling with kids and jobs. But
yeah.
we had coffee morning yesterday, and we
Oh,
just
that's
thought
nice.
like that's really important to have that girl time where
But
we can like
you just compare things. Sometimes you just need to go out, have a damn good moan at everybody, and then you come back, don't you? Thinking, slate the whole world and his wife,
slag everyone
all the
off.
kids, yeah, all the husbands, all the partners, give everybody a bit of a pounding, and then come back and you're ready to take on the day again, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We're just about to book a girls' holiday, and we've not done that. We've not had a girls' holiday in about 5 years.
oh,
So
that'd be
very
brilliant.
excited for that.
So, talking about friends, so my next question. So, I've got loads of bits and pieces written down here. What do you think you've had a good support network? I mean, that was one thing I would say, kind of 17 years ago for me. I was I was very lonely. I didn't think I had anybody to talk to because I was really young. None of my friends were kind of going through anything like menopause. I mean, didn't even know what was going on. And I think because the medical professionals were telling me, well, we don't know what's wrong with you. I think everybody thought it was kind of I'd gone a bit
You
mad.
made it up or
And it
something.
was really lonely for me. So have you got lots of friends
Mm.
that do talk about menopause? Because you're obviously a lot younger than me. Are you going to fill my ears with music and say, yeah, we're all discussing it? And because that's half the battle is knowing what's going on and having those, just those supportive discussions with your friends.
Well, out of my friends that live, like my network where I live, I'm the first to go through it. So I
Right.
kind of rant all my issues and stuff at them, but like they are there. They find it quite amusing. They let me let off steam. We kind of laugh and
But
have
you're teaching them a lot. They're very lucky to have a friend like you because they're going to be a little bit more aware. I mean, sometimes you can be having the sex of your life, great, regular periods. But for me, anxiety, like the psychological symptoms were
oh,
horrendous for me. And I didn't even know what perimenopause was. So you're educating them well.
mm. Yeah, my best friend who lives down south, we don't get to see each other that much, but she was going through perimenopause when it around lockdown like years ago, and in between all of it I went to stay at her house, and I literally saw the unraveling of her, and I was there to help and
Bless her.
support her, and I was her shoulder to cry on. So I've called her quite a lot. She's been able to talk to me about the different forms of HRT. I think that's why I was quite confident going to the doctor and speaking about it, because I had a friend who was already, well, this is what I do. This has worked well. So I had that like support of her as well.
which is so important. I think I think Deb has just said, I couldn't get through my menopause without my girls, and I think that is a problem shared is a problem halved, isn't it? It's kind of back to basic, real basics, isn't it? It's not about what you've got. It's just trying to get through. Sometimes when you're having a bad day, it's just getting to the end of that day and not planning the next few months and years and weeks. It's just getting through those days and just we're just not very kind to ourselves. I think women are very critical. We look in the mirror, we put weight on, our hair isn't just like it used to be, and this, that, and the other, all the things you were saying. But I do think men have their issues as well. They say to me when I'm in the workplace doing presentations, trying to keep women in the workplace, they say, but we tell our wives we look beautiful, and sometimes we don't know how to deal with our wives that are going through this. And I said, well, always pick your moment. But I think women appreciate if you can just have a little bit of empathy. Men are fixers, aren't they? But I say to them, you can't fix us, but you need to be a bit empathetic. And sometimes just running somebody a bath, taking over with the kids, emptying the bins, and just doing a few things like that makes a big difference.
Like I said to my husband, you know what? Sometimes all I need is a hug.
Yeah,
Like, because I don't expect you to understand the
yeah.
complexity of my brain and the nonsense I speak sometimes. But just a hug is more than enough. And he is good. He is listening. I think also I've spoken to like his mum in front of him about menopause. I know for a fact he's spoken to his mum last year about it because he must have been like, she's like going a little bit crazy here. So this is nothing that's hidden. I've
Yeah.
even like sat the kids down and last year and said, look, mummy is acting a little bit
That's
off.
really good, that, and that's healthy for them to understand. There's never a right time to tell your kids, but I mean, it's like years ago, when we were kids, we wouldn't have left tampons and sanitary wear around. But when I had my daughters, I just left it all around. And I think we need to have those open and honest conversations just to make everybody in society aware that it might not be that you're just turned into this miserable, grumpy human being. You're just having a bad time with your hormones. I did a live last night with a lovely lady called Evelyn Scott, who's gone through a horrendous endometriosis journey, and she's got a brilliant network around her. And I think if she didn't have that, it's really hard. She's given up dating men, and she said because sex is so painful and things like that. She's only I think 37, so there's so many women's, health issues that aren't discussed enough: endometriosis, PMDD, adenomyosis. The list gets longer every year. There's something else added into the mix. And a lot of these young women have several of those
Yeah,
diseases and those issues. So it's really, really hard.
tough. It really is tough.
So
Um,
what's next for you then, Natasha? So are you do you think you will go back and tour? I'm expecting a ticket now. I'm going to drive up north and come and see you.
well, I've got some gigs throughout the summer. I've got like festivals, some prides and things like that. And back in the studio, back in next week. I've started writing some new music. For me, it's just important to get whether it's an EP or an album to get that out. I'm going to be drip feeding music starting from like September, I'd say, the end of September. I've got the label which I'm supporting young up and coming artists, so launching the
Brilliant.
careers of the next generation of pop artists out there, which is exciting. And a nice holiday in the summer. I'm looking forward to that.
Fantastic. Oh, bless you. Well, listen, I'm acutely aware of the time, Natasha. I did say it'd only take half an hour, but I would
No,
absolutely
it's
love to
fine.
jump on and talk to you again. It's been an absolute privilege to chat to you. And thank you for being so open and honest, because it really, really helps others accept that it affects everybody in life. I mean, poor Dame Kelly Holmes, Olympic athlete, she's having the most horrendous time with her menopause journey. So if we can invite our brilliant celebrities like yourself and our pop stars to have these open conversations, it really, really helps everybody else. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm gonna nab your address off you, and I'm gonna send your partner, husband, my menopause book that I wrote, a few pages per symptom. I wrote it to help men and businesses as well as informing women at younger age. So it's nothing medical, it's just a few
Love
pages per
that.
symptom. But I'm going to send you a copy to give to
Thank you.
him.
Thank you so much.
You're
No, it's
absolutely
great. I mean,
welcome.
I just think it's best to be honest and open about how you're feeling. Don't hold it in, and just, yeah, get on it. Don't leave it too late.
And life does get better. I'm living proof of that. I went through 10, 11 years of, I don't remember a lot of my 40s, early 50s at all. So it does get better. You know, I've had a couple of menopause shows, and I went from not leaving the house to standing up in front of a few hundred people talking all about vaginal dryness and why we should be moisturising. And I send you some
Mm,
samples for that as well. I'm making a note.
amazing.
Really
And I have to
important.
say, like, today for me is a good day. Not every day is like this. Like at the weekend, the whole of
Yeah.
Sunday, I was in bed, like I couldn't get out. It's being able to accept that we're on a
But it's
different
not going
journey
to
now.
last forever. You've got a
No.
little one that you're running around after, and sometimes to keep push, which I've done. I was a single mum to the twins. Their dad left when they were 2 years, 3 weeks, and I brought them up myself. I mean, they're now 27. One works for the Met, and the other is a London paramedic. So I've done all right as a single mum, and I know how
Okay.
hard it is, and not having family around to support you. But it sounds like you've got a really good network, a great hubby. And I'd love to chat to you again, Natasha. And thank you so much for finding the time to talk to me.
You're very welcome. I'm glad the baby hasn't woke
Oh,
up.
I was actually hoping that she was. I was thinking I've had a guide dog come to one of my menopause sessions in the workplace and sat on my feet for the whole time, so I couldn't stand up.
Oh, that's
I've
cute.
had I've had dogs, I've had cats come to my Instagram lives. Trying to think, a couple of the other celebrities that have had funny. And I went, oh, just bring them in. I can't remember who it was. I had three dogs sat on their lap, and I went, she's in there somewhere.
Somehow I feel like a dog's going to be more well behaved than a tired
Oh, I don't
21-month
know.
old.
Not when they're barking constantly. Anyway,
Oh, no, thank
Natasha,
you
thank you
so
so much.
much for
We'll put
chatting.
this
It's
on
been
our
lovely.
grids. You'll put it on yours as well, won't you? So people can give it a follow. If anybody's not following Natasha, do give her a follow. She's amazing. Listen out for her latest record. It's brilliant. You haven't changed. Your voice is as good as it's ever been. And I look
Oh,
forward to
thank
meeting you in
you.
person at some point.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Thanks, Natasha. Bye. Thank you, everybody.